Joining me live in the studio is the CEO of the Restaurant and Cafe Association, Wes Lambert. Wes, great to see you. What do you make of the debate? The government says it's uncosted. They've done the costings. It comes in at way too much, at $1.6 billion a year at least.
Look, that's a big costing, considering that the federal government currently only collects about $2 billion in FBT on meals and entertainment as it is. So an additional 1.6, that's a big costing. So what we say is that the coalition has listened. It's listened to the ABS. It's listened to Creditor Watch. It's listened to small business who were screaming out for anything to increase demand in the hospitality industry, which is still the hardest hit since post-COVID.
They're saying it's costed, so the coalition has put out a number now saying it's $250 million a year. Is that more reasonable? That's
more reasonable. That takes into account that not every one of the 2.5 million businesses in Australia are going to go out and spend $20,000 in meals and entertainment. It's a much more reasonable figure. It's easy to extrapolate out, the highest scenario of all 2.5 million all going out and spending $20,000. But what we understand is that Labor's costings are based upon all of those meals just replacing existing meals. So no new meals for small businesses. They're saying in their costings that small businesses are already out there spending money on meals. They're not.
Have your members welcomed this? Would they see this as a boost to their businesses right now?
Absolutely. 1 in 11 hospitality businesses went insolvent, have gone insolvent in the past 6 months. So it's very tough.
1 in 11.
1 in 11. According to Creditor Watch, that's the actual, not the estimate.
What's causing that? Is it the interest rates, cost of living? What's driving that?
It is an entire meal of problems. So we're still down 12% in international tourists from pre-COVID times. The demand is very low given the cost of living pressures that Australians are under. And the cost of doing business is high. And so the profit margin in restaurants and cafes is only about 3 to 4%. So they're doing it tough. And so this policy is good for the 2.5 million businesses in Australia, and it's great for the 110,000 accommodation food service businesses.
Anecdotally, I've certainly heard over summer people down the coast, up and down the coast, saying that it's much quieter, that they've noticed less people on holidays over summer. Is that translating into some of those numbers that you're talking about in your members' businesses?
Absolutely.
You've seen it?
I've seen it. So Creditor Watch has more detailed specifics they put out, and many of the insolvencies are in those touristy areas. And so they're the hardest hit. However, anyone who's costing this on existing meals, they're saying this is the big end of town. Last time I checked, the 2.5 million small business in Australia, they're not the big end of town.
The AHA said to me last week that this is about equity, that the big end of town, the boardrooms, can bring in catering into their boardrooms and then claim the tax deduction, whereas smaller businesses can't.
Absolutely.
Do you see it in similar terms?
Absolutely. So creating this same for small and big businesses, for deductibility as well as the FBT exemption, it is going to lead to increased spending in accommodation food service businesses, not replacement.
Wes Lambert, CEO of the Restaurant and Cafe Association. Thanks. Talk to you soon.